One of the best ways to learn about China is to become familiar with her many folk tales. Among these legends, the exciting story of Little Jean and the magic sword tells us why. For example, the Chinese head for the hills on the 9th of September each year. In this rendition, brave Little Jean decides to save his village by defeating the Big Devil King. To do so, Little Jean must first climb many mountains, meet new friends, and obtain a magic sword from an elusive saint. Come see how this determined little boy overcomes a mountain of obstacles to save his people from the Big Devil King. With its powerful message and dramatic ending, this story is a must-read for adults and children alike. The Big Devil King and the Magic Sword, a mountain climbing saga. Written by Zhan Meng Li and Robert E. Johansen. Illustrated by Gary Bayless.
Help! The horrible Big Devil King is coming!
All of the animals quickly run out of the forest. The blue sky becomes foggy and dark clouds cover the sun. The forest is suddenly filled with fear. The Big Devil King lives in the river. Wherever he goes, all people, plants, and animals get sick. One year, after the Big Devil King came out of the river, the whole village caught a cold. Everyone is afraid of him. "I must defeat the Big Devil King," says brave Little Jean. One day, he hears about a magic sword that can defeat all bad people. Little Jean wants to go find the magic sword. He and his puppy walk for a long time and meet a fox. The fox says, "Only Saint Fei Chang Fang has this magic sword, but he is really hard to find. To get there, you must climb those 3 mountains. Just forget it and go home." But Little Jean makes up his mind. He must defeat the Big Devil King. Little Jean finally climbs the 3 mountains and meets an owl. The owl says, "Do not go into the forest. It is too dangerous. A big spider lives there that eats everyone who goes near it. Just go home." But Little Jean has made up his mind. He must defeat the Big Dragon King. Just after the owl flies away, Little Jean starts walking into the forest. But he is stuck and cannot move. A big shadow comes over him. It gets bigger and bigger and darker and darker. The big spider pushes so close to Little Jean that he almost cannot breathe. Swoosh! The spider grabs Little Jean with its front legs. Its sharp teeth come closer and closer. Suddenly, a big wind blows over the forest, and Little Jean hears the sound of flapping wings. A big white bird flies down and takes Little Jean away. Little Jean is saved. The big white bird carries Little Jean a long way. They fly over a large shiny lake and see many big colorful trees. The big bird slowly lands to let Little Jean down. "The saint lives in a sparkling cave just beyond the forest. He is very hard to find, so take care," says the big white bird. The big white bird flies away, and Jean sits down under a tree. Soon, the sky turns dark and a thunderstorm begins. The lightning almost strikes Little Jean. "You will not scare me. I will defeat the big Devil King," shouts little Jean. Suddenly, the storm stops and the moon comes out again. Little Jean waits for several days. The weather is rainy and stormy, but he still will not leave. A kind little mouse stops by and gives him a piece of bread. The mouse says,
"Go home. The saint does not care about you."
Early the next morning, little Jean wakes up from the cold. He sees someone standing in front of him. "Saint, please help the people in the village," he says. The saint takes out the magic sword. "It is very hard to use the magic sword. Does this scare you?" asks the saint. "Not at all," says little Jean. Little Jean practices with the magic sword every day. He begins early in the morning and does not stop until the sun goes down. He knows that the only way to save the people in the village is to defeat the big Devil King. One day, a dove brings little Jean a message.
"The big Devil King is coming again. What should we do?"
Little Jean is nervous, but the saint says, "Take all of the villagers to a high mountain. Tell them to drink special wine and put leaves on their clothes. The big Devil King is afraid of that smell and will not dare to come out and make trouble." When September 9th comes, the villagers wear leaves and climb up the mountain. The big Devil King walks around the forest and smells the leaves. He does not dare to go near the people. He is really mad and shouts, "Now I am really angry." "I will defeat you," yells little Jean with the magic sword at his side. The big Devil King turns to look at little Jean and laughs. "You defeat me? I doubt it. Let me teach you a lesson." Little Jean runs at the big Devil King. "I'm not afraid of you. Bring it on," he shouts. Little Jean and the big Devil King fight for 3 days and 3 nights. The big Devil King gets more and more tired, but little Jean is still full of energy. His sword practice with the saint has made him very strong. When little Jean sees that the big Devil King is tired, he stabs him with the magic sword and flies all around him. Little Jean finally defeats the big Devil King. The people clap their hands and shout, "Long live Jean and the magic sword!" After the magic sword stabs the big Devil King, it becomes as bright as the sun, and the big Devil King is turned to stone. The gray sky turns beautiful again. Little Jean sees the saint smiling at him from high above in the clouds. From that year on, people all go hiking in the mountains on September 9th to celebrate this victory. The end.